Alright, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Troi, and I'm here, of course, again with another video. And this is going to be my TBR for March Mystery Madness of 2025. I would have had it a week ago, so I'm like a week behind, I believe, as it regards the month of March, 1 week already in. But I was reading another book, so I'm going to put a accoutrement here. But I was reading the Sable Cloak by her. The author's name is Gail. I checked it out from the library. Fairly decent book, missing some tension, but was a very good story in regards to Black enterprise in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, and family drama as well. So I invite you to check that book out. The author unfortunately passed away last summer, so she didn't get to see this book, populate bookshelves when it released back in February. So The Sable Cloak was a book that I was reading all last week. So now I'm here to talk about what I do got planned for March Mystery Madness in regards to a TBR. I gotta look at this. So I decided that when it comes to the prompts, I decided to take on path number 2, which is travel through the publishing decades. And I want to combine that with my own personal objective of reading more books within the Crown Companions top 100 mystery novels of all time, subjectively speaking. But as you guys know, I have been tackling this mystery list of the top 100 mystery novels of all times for the past 4 years. It's a whole list. I got it printed out up there. But this book was published in 1995, or the list was compiled in 1995. So it's all mysteries predating such. Nothing past that. It might need a revised edition at this point, right? Or a second edition or a second offering of novels to choose from. So, yeah, I've been reading off this list for the past 4 years because I absolutely love mysteries. That's been evident and clear, both old and modern. From a variety of different voices. It's just my jam. Like, I love reading mysteries, and I love reading different styles of mysteries, both the women writers, the male writers, which I'm getting more better at reading, and the different subgenres. And this, it's just for the geek in me, the mystery reading geek in me. So I said now's the perfect time to tackle on that list. And I said I'm going to do, as regards to prompt, is read a book from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, no, the 50s, no, the 60s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Unfortunately, because this book was published in 1995, the only 90s entry is actually Walter Mosley's Devil in a Blue Dress that was published in 1990. So I already read that, of course, so I don't have anything to pull from when it comes to 1990, but, I could always make some kind of arrangement. So, but I chose something differently, which you'll see here. So with that being said, for those who have been following me and my reading of the top 100 mystery novels of all time, I did read at least 3 books off that list last year, or DNF'd 1. I read 2, but DNF'd 1. So just to catch up, the Ipcress file was a book that a stone cold war classic British spy novel from the 1950s or so, like that. I didn't read this book. It was boring. And I couldn't get over the visualizing of like go-go boots and Austin Powers. So I just, that tells you everything you need to know. I just couldn't do it. But I did manage to read Laura by Vera Caspary, dark noir, about a police detective who is investigating the murder of this woman named Laura, who is, he's coming to the point where he's obsessed with her, but his drive to solve her murder unveils the fact that she's actually alive. So, this was a obsessive drama that went on between him and her, and all the nefarious little avenues in which she has found herself in, and how she manipulates people, that sort of femme fatale Dane. But although I think Laura was a lot softer than that, but this was still a good book. So after that, I ended up reading I the Jury by Mickey Spillane, which is the first book in his Mike Hammer series. This is a collection that got the first 3 books in the series. It is so interesting because y'all know I come up here all the time talking about I cannot read Raymond Chandler. Raymond Chandler is boring to me. I would pick up nothing else by him. Sorry. Not sorry. Dashiell Hammett. After the Maltese Falcon, I think I tried to read the Red Harvest or the Thin Man. One of those books, couldn't get into him anymore. I still need to try Ross McDonald, which I have some of his books over here. But we're talking about some of the pioneers of the noir novels, private detective, crime fiction, you know, from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all that kind of stuff. You already know where I'm going with this. I generally do not like to read these type of books because of the misogyny, the homophobia, the racism that blossoms up, you know, repeatedly within a lot of these characters' voices and mind frames and just overall outlook about life. But I have to say this. Although I could not get into Chandler, although I could not get into Hammett, the one who I found was probably the most offensive in terms of that was probably Mike Spillane's Mike Hammer. But incidentally, the jury was, I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down. I could not put either jury down. It was the best one to me. Like when it comes to those three, I'm still waiting to see what Ross McDonald gives. But either jury, I mean, it had everything that I didn't like. When in terms of souring societal thoughts, but it was still a gripping read. And I think I read this book in here in like maybe a day and a half or so. So, and I mean, the ending is just like amazing. But even though I'll leave that aside. So, but my point is that I'll continue forward with Mickey Spillane. You know, he is on the top 100 mystery novels of all time, and I think I just like to. I gotta read these books. I gotta, just as a mystery lover. So with that out of the way, as it concerns March Mystery Madness, I got my basket here, my old Target basket, and I'm gonna show you guys what I plan on reading here. And there are no eggs in here because I just buy the liquid eggs. So I am currently reading Truman Capote's In Cold Blood. I started this book yesterday, Saturday. Here it is Sunday at 3:17 p.m. and I'm on page 150. This is a good book. I see, and this is what I mean. Even though it's a classic for everybody's probably read this book. That's fine. But this is what I mean when I said that I want to read the top 100 mystery novels of all time. Because this 1966 classic, I do not want to miss. I would have never wanted to miss. And I bought this book probably 2 years ago. And it just sat on my shelf in anticipation of me finally getting to it. And I arrived and I am here. So this book, this book is sort of like, it's kind of genre changing in terms of mystery and crime fiction. Because it takes from what I understand, it takes a real actual event that took place in Kansas involving 4 family members who were found shot to death by a shotgun in their family farm home. And it takes that actual story and sort of fictionalize how those events came about, who the culprit were and their subsequent, you know, consequences to the crime. It details all that out. Now, I don't know the actual information about the family, about the actual event, but from the story itself, it is an absolutely gripping read because Capote gives the reader so many freaking details. So many freaking details, not just from the actual crime, but from the victims, from the suspects, from the investigator and officers. It is all there. From the various people within the township of this small Kansas town. It is all there, and it is absolutely gripping. So this is an example, as I just stated, of why I wanted to read the top 100 mystery novels of all time, because it's stuff like this that I really want to make sure that I have inside of my repertoire of reading when it comes to mysteries. So I love it all. I just love it all. But yeah, this was, man, I'm telling you, I got clothes in the washer after I close this video. I'm going to make me something to eat, and when I relax, get ready to go to work in the morning, I'm getting back into In Cold Blood. It is that freaking good. I didn't think I was going to be able to read it because I've started and I was like, this is going a little too slow. But once you hit that rhythm and you see how psychotic the majority of the offensive characters are, the offending culprit characters are, and their backstory, how crazy they are, but in a psychological standpoint in which it is not too over the top, if you will, you just keep it. It just keeps going. So yeah, In Cold Blood. I'm telling you, baby, I cannot wait to finish. I'm ready to read some more of this. So when it comes to, so that's 1960. So when it comes to 1970, I combed through my list, and I'm going to finally read a Ruth Rendell's A Judgment in Stone. Now I have read the first book in her Wexford series, which is over here somewhere on my shelf. And I might have put it in the back wells on my shelf because I can't spot it. But I did read that. I think it was from Doom with Love or Doom with Love. But this is outside of that series. This is a standalone. And it is on the list. But this is what I want to read to y'all. The absolute first sentence, which is why I said out of all the 1970s picks on the top 100 mystery novels that I could read, this is the one that I wanted to pick out for this particular challenge. So the first sentence: Eunice Parchman killed the Coverdale family because she could not read or write. I know. I'm looking like, what the hell wrong with her, you know? So it has to do with this woman who becomes a housekeeper, I believe, for this wealthy family. And, you know, she is a housekeeper who, I would assume, given the synopsis, she deals with a lot of maintaining of certain family members' secrets. This could converge into blackmail. This could further converge into her murdering someone. And if this is on the top 100 mystery novels of all times, I'm sure it's going to be a gem, because I did enjoy her first book, From Doom with Love. I'm sorry, y'all. In her Wexford series. So finally, I'm having another Ruth Rendell book underneath my belt. And, you know, I'm ready to see what the hell this maid woman is going to do in these folks' house. So now we come to the 80s. And I decided, because I was going to reread a book that and feel that, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and keep branching out with the top 100 mystery novels of all times with my reading of The Hunt for the Red October by Tom Clancy. This is another example of me wanting to branch out and read different subgenres of mysteries. As we all know, this is a Soviet techno thriller. Tom Clancy, you know, I'm very much familiar with him. Never read any of his work, but I know what he gives when it comes to his particular brand of mystery telling. So The Hunt for the Red October is something that I've always wanted to read in itself, but just the fact that it's on the top 100 mystery list of all times is just further enthuses me to give this a go. So as you guys know, this has to do with this Soviet submarine which has missiles on it that is sneaking its way towards the United States. But the issue is it's sort of in a rogue state, so people or whatever affiliates or administration don't know if this particular sub with missiles is coming to battle or is defecting from his own administration or whatever over in the Soviet. But the major thing here is that it takes place during the Cold War, so that is, you know, the war of information. And that's another place in which I cannot wait to see what Tom Clancy gives in this thriller. So I'm going to be finally reading The Hunt for the Red October. I can't remember where I found this particular copy from. I think I paid like $1 for it or something. Oh, I know. I was volunteering at a thrift store and they gave it to me for free. So yeah, The Hunt. And I was like, wow, I don't care. I'm taking it. So The Hunt for the Red October. I was gonna say pray for me, but I feel like that I can do this. I can do this. So that's what that's what I'm expanding here when it comes to different types of classic mysteries. So when it comes to the 1990s, since I decided that I'm gonna reread Naked in Death by J.D. Robb, and I specifically went out and bought this particular copy because it's the 25th edition, and it has a little note from J.D. Robb herself, sort of reflecting on her time creating this series and its longevity. I wanted to read this because I'm so caught up on this series, and I just finished Bonded in Death, the latest one, that I'm hungry. I'm hungry for more, and I don't even have to say too much about how much I love the J.D. Robb in-depth series. And the fact of the matter is, when I first read this book, except a different printing of this book, back in 2008, after I finished the book, I didn't exactly like it. I didn't exactly care for it at all. And it took a couple months later for me to read the second book in the series, where I was completely hooked since then. So I'm giving this another reread. I feel like this is the time, as someone who is a deep fan of the J.D. Robb in-depth series. I just feel like I want to not only get more of Eve Dallas wit and banter and investigative prowess back into my system, but I just want to revisit this story and make sure and see, not make sure, and see, what it is that I missed years ago, and what it is that, having read up to 60 of these books plus short stories over these years, what it is that life was like for these characters before this series completely took off. So this was published in 1995, and this series is still going, and I just feel like this is the right time for Naked in Death. So that is a good reread. So I'm putting all the books back in the baskets. So 1990, 1980, two 1970s, which I'm going to do this one first, right after Cold Blood, and then 1960s. And then, probably the most important book here, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution of the United States with the Bill of Rights, or the Declaration of Independence. So, I just happen to have this in this basket, y'all. But we all need it. So, that's it. That is it. Oh, I got to put him in here too. That is it. That's going to help me because I'm going to get some of these books read off of this list. So that's it. I'm going to go put my clothes in the dryer, and then I'm going to go make me something to eat. And then I will see you guys later. If you read any of these books, please give them a good word or word in general. And hopefully I can finish all these books before, probably maybe in the next 2 weeks, so that I can make another TBR of some of the recent reads that have released that I want to get to, probably before April and throughout the month of April. So that is it. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I know this is a long video, but hey, we just hanging out. March Mystery Madness. All lovers of readers and lovers and readers, I don't know what I'm talking about, of mysteries. I love